Has someone you love started showing subtle but concerning changes over the past year? It's a question many of us avoid, but it's a natural part of life. Many people assume that death in old age happens suddenly, but the truth is, the body often sends quiet warnings months, sometimes even a year, before life reaches its final stage. Today we're going to talk about something incredibly important and often difficult: recognizing the subtle signs that someone dear to us might be in their final year. Knowing these signs isn't about fear, it's about preparation, love, and making every moment count. We'll explore 5 key indicators, helping you understand, support, and cherish your loved ones during this delicate time. I remember my own grandmother, bless her heart. She was a force of nature, always baking, always telling stories. But as she aged, things changed. Not dramatically, but in small, almost imperceptible ways. A little less energy, a little more forgetfulness, a little less interest in her beloved garden. It's easy to dismiss these changes as simply getting old, but sometimes they signify more. The problem is, most people miss these signs because they seem small at first. It's only later, looking back, that families realize the clues were there all along, but by then it's too late to prepare, too late to make those last memories count. We all want to believe our loved ones will be with us forever, but understanding the signs of approaching end of life can help us provide the best possible care and support. We are not here to be morbid, but rather to be prepared. This is about honoring the lives of those we love, ensuring their comfort, and cherishing the time we have left. Today we'll cover significant and unexplained weight loss, extreme fatigue and weakness, frequent infections and slow healing, increased cognitive confusion, and major changes in breathing or circulation. Let's start with the first sign: significant and unexplained weight loss. One of the earliest and most telling signs that a person may be approaching the final year of their life is unintentional weight loss. At first, it might seem subtle: a belt that suddenly needs tightening, clothes that appear looser, or a once hearty appetite that begins to fade. Many families dismiss it as merely a part of getting older. However, the truth is, losing weight unintentionally is rarely a good sign. It often indicates that the body is no longer absorbing nutrients efficiently. Muscle mass is decreasing, and essential systems are slowing down. Aging naturally leads to some loss of muscle, but when it happens too quickly, it's a sign that something deeper is occurring. The body may be struggling to digest food properly, or the person may no longer be able to process protein effectively, leading to muscle wasting. This loss of strength doesn't just make movement more difficult. It increases the risk of falls, weakens the immune system, and leaves the person vulnerable to infections. Another reason for weight loss in the final year of life is appetite changes. Many elderly individuals simply don't feel hungry the way they used to. Their sense of taste fades, food no longer seems enjoyable, and they might start skipping meals or eating much smaller portions. This isn't just a matter of preference, it's a physiological change. The body, sensing that it's beginning to shut down, no longer signals the brain to seek food as often. The result? Less energy, less strength, and a gradual decline in overall health. Furthermore, underlying medical conditions can play a significant role. Weight loss is a common symptom of chronic diseases like cancer, heart failure, or kidney disease, all of which can begin progressing long before more obvious symptoms appear. Even conditions like depression or cognitive decline can lead to reduced eating, causing a downward spiral where the body isn't receiving enough fuel to sustain itself. I remember a story from a friend who cared for her father. He was always a big eater, loved his meals. Then, suddenly, he started picking at his food, leaving most of it untouched. She initially thought he was just being picky, but within a few months, he had lost a significant amount of weight. It turned out he had advanced pancreatic cancer. What can you do? First, talk to the doctor. Get a thorough medical evaluation. Second, focus on making meals as appealing and nutritious as possible. Small, frequent meals are often better than large ones. Consider adding nutrient-rich smoothies or shakes. And don't forget to address any underlying emotional issues that might be affecting their appetite. If the weight continues to drop despite these efforts, it's important to recognize that the issue is not just diet. It's the body preparing for a deeper transition. At this stage, forcing large meals may not help. Instead, focusing on comfort, easy-to-eat foods, and hydration can make a bigger difference in maintaining quality of life. Our second sign is extreme fatigue and weakness. One of the most noticeable changes in the year leading up to the end of life is a deep, persistent fatigue that doesn't go away with rest. It's not just feeling a little tired after a long day. It's a profound exhaustion that makes even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Getting out of bed becomes a challenge. Walking across the room requires effort, and activities that once felt routine start to feel too draining. This is not merely a result of aging. Rather, it indicates the body is conserving its remaining energy. As organ function begins to slow, the body starts prioritizing what's most essential. The heart doesn't pump as efficiently, circulation weakens, and muscles don't get the same level of oxygen they once did. This is why many elderly individuals in their final months feel weak, unsteady, and unable to sustain the same level of activity they once enjoyed. Another key factor is metabolic slowdown. The body is designed to produce and use energy, but as it prepares for its final phase, that energy is redirected. Instead of fueling movement, the body shifts toward preservation. This is why someone in decline may start sleeping more, needing longer naps during the day, and finding it harder to stay awake for long periods. Some individuals may even experience sudden drops in energy, appearing fine one moment and completely drained the next. I remember volunteering at a senior center, and I saw how quickly some residents declined. One woman, who used to love dancing, gradually stopped participating in activities. She started using a walker, then a wheelchair, and eventually became bedridden. It was a stark reminder of how quickly things can change. Our third sign is increased cognitive confusion or withdrawal. As a person approaches the final stage of life, one of the most striking changes can be seen in how they think, communicate, and interact with others. You may notice that someone who was once sharp and engaged starts to forget things more often, struggle to follow conversations, or seem disoriented in familiar places. They may repeat themselves, forget names, or lose track of time, even when they never had memory issues before. These subtle cognitive changes can happen months or even a full year before death. This is more than just typical forgetfulness. The brain, like any other organ, requires a steady flow of oxygen and nutrients to function properly. But as circulation weakens and oxygen supply to the brain decreases, cognitive function starts to decline. The person may become easily confused, have difficulty making decisions, or struggle to recognize people and places they've known for years. In some cases, they may even have brief moments of lucidity followed by sudden episodes of confusion, almost as if their mind is fading in and out. Another common sign is emotional withdrawal. Someone nearing the end of life often loses interest in social interactions. You might notice them speaking less, engaging less, or spending long periods simply sitting in silence. It's not that they cease to care about their loved ones, rather, their brain no longer processes emotions and engagement in the same manner. Conversations become tiring, loud environments feel overwhelming, and eventually, many seniors retreat into their own world. You may also notice changes in mood and behavior. Some individuals become more irritable, anxious, or easily frustrated. Others seem unusually calm, detached, or indifferent to things that once mattered to them. This isn't just a personality shift. It's often a result of the brain adjusting to the body's decline. As cognitive function slows, emotions become harder to express, and the person may stop reacting to situations in the way they used to. My uncle was always the life of the party, loved being around people. But as he got older, he started staying in his room, avoiding family gatherings. We thought he was just tired, but it turned out he was experiencing significant cognitive decline due to Alzheimer's disease. What can you do? Engage them in activities that stimulate their mind, like puzzles, reading, or reminiscing about old memories. Encourage social interaction, even if it's just a phone call or a short visit. Create a peaceful and comfortable environment. Speak gently, offer reassurance, and understand that even if they don't always respond, they can still feel your presence. And as always, talk to their doctor for a proper evaluation and support. Our fourth sign is frequent infections and slow healing. As the body begins to wind down, one of the clearest physical signs is a weakened immune system. You might notice that someone who rarely got sick before now seems to catch every cold, every flu, every small infection that goes around. What used to be minor illnesses now take much longer to recover from, and simple wounds like a small cut or bruise heal at a noticeably slower rate. These changes are not random. They signify the body's diminishing ability to defend and repair itself as it once did. One of the biggest concerns is repeated infections. Pneumonia, urinary tract infections, UTIs, skin infections, and even oral infections become more common as the immune system weakens. Many families assume these are just isolated illnesses, but when they start happening frequently or take a long time to clear up, it's often a sign that the body is losing its ability to fight back. Even antibiotics, which once worked quickly, may seem less effective. The person may need stronger medications, longer recovery periods, or multiple rounds of treatment for infections that once would have been minor. This happens because as circulation slows and organ function declines, the body simply doesn't respond to treatment as well. Another overlooked issue is chronic wounds. If you notice that small scratches, sores, or bruises aren't healing properly or keep reopening, it could mean that circulation is compromised. Poor blood flow means that oxygen and nutrients aren't reaching the skin and tissues efficiently, making healing much slower than usual. Pressure sores, especially for those who are less mobile, become a serious risk and can lead to dangerous infections if not carefully managed. What's even more concerning is that infections in the final year of life often don't look the way we expect. Instead of a high fever, an elderly person may simply seem more tired than usual, more confused, or less interested in eating. In fact, for seniors, a sudden decline in mental alertness is often the first warning sign of an infection, even before other symptoms appear. I remember my neighbor, Mrs. Johnson. She was always so active, but then she kept getting these little infections. We thought it was just bad luck, but it turned out her immune system was failing. What can you do? Focus on comfort. Make sure they stay hydrated, keep their skin clean and moisturized, and minimize stress on the body. Sometimes it's about shifting from curing to comforting. And as always, consult with their doctor for proper medical care. Our final sign, and perhaps the most telling, is major changes in breathing or circulation. One of the most telling signs that the body is preparing for its final stage is a noticeable change in breathing patterns and circulation. You may notice that your loved one breathes more slowly or shallowly than before. At times, they might pause between breaths, or their breathing might become irregular, speeding up and then slowing down unexpectedly. Some people experience a gentle, rhythmic breathing pattern called Cheney-Stokes respiration, where breathing alternates between deep, rapid breaths and long pauses. These changes may begin subtly, but over time they become increasingly pronounced and frequent. Another common sign is weakened circulation. You may notice that their hands, feet, or even their nose and ears start feeling cold to the touch. The skin may appear pale, bluish, or mottled, especially around the fingers and toes. This clearly indicates the heart is no longer pumping as strongly as it once did. Some people also experience more shortness of breath, even with minimal movement. Simply sitting up, speaking, or shifting positions might cause them to feel winded or out of breath. You may notice them breathing through their mouth more often, or they may suddenly need to stop and catch their breath while talking. If they were once able to walk across the room easily but now struggle to do so, their lung function may be declining. I remember visiting an elderly neighbor who used to be so full of life, but then her breathing started to change. It was shallow, and she would pause between breaths. It was a clear sign that her body was slowing down. What can you do? Create a peaceful environment, keep the room cool, use a humidifier, or offer small sips of water. In some cases, medications or oxygen therapy can provide relief, but the focus shifts toward comfort rather than trying to fix the issue. So, to recap, the 5 signs to watch for are significant and unexplained weight loss, extreme fatigue and weakness, increased cognitive confusion or withdrawal, frequent infections and slow healing, and major changes in breathing or circulation. If you notice these signs in a loved one, don't ignore them. Talk to their doctor, seek support, and most importantly, spend quality time with them. We would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Have you noticed any of these signs in your loved ones? What advice would you give to others facing similar situations? Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. And if you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Remember, understanding these signs isn't about fearing death. It's about being prepared for it. When you recognize these changes early, you can offer better care, make important decisions ahead of time, and ensure that your loved one's final months are filled with love and dignity. This is a time for cherishing moments, sharing stories, and letting them know they are valued and not alone. Take a deep breath and remember, you are not alone in this journey. Many families have walked this path before. And while it is never easy, knowing what to expect can help you find strength, patience, and peace. Thank you for joining us today. May you cherish every moment with your loved ones.